Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. My name is Ajwad and I'm here with
C Chronicles.
So we've been discussing a lot of things behind the scenes and we've been arguing about certain fragrances, whether they are underhyped or overhyped. To me, there are certain fragrances that I feel are quite a no-no to me, whilst C feels she likes them and vice versa. So we have about 12 fragrances here that I'm going to share my opinion, and then we listen to what my senior sister also has here. So the first one we are going to discuss here is going to be Khair Fusion. No, this is not Khair Fusion. Khair Pistachio.
Khair. I always call
Oh
it
my God.
Khair. No, it is Khair. It is Khair Pistachio.
Khair or Khair?
I just call it Khair.
Well, I say Khair
Okay.
Pistachio. Okay. The first few times I tried it, I was like, it's okay. I feel like it's so hyped, to the borderline overhyped in my opinion. It has a dusty quality to me. Anytime I smell it, I remember weevils, weevils in like grains.
I get it.
I get it.
Yeah, you're right. Well, with me, it's not going to be. I'm not going to select this particular bottle. I think it's the DNA in itself.
Well,
it started with Khair Pistachio, and then it went to this, and then it went to Affection, and guys, I do have a mini of the yam pistachio, the actual yam pistachio, and I concur with Ajwad here that when I smelled it the first time, I was like, is that it?
yeah.
And so this is the sort of DNA that some people completely love, and some people, the way the pistachio interprets, especially in this one, is kind of trying to do too much, and it's quite pushy there to an extent that it's just the DNA makeup in itself that some fragrances take off, some just don't, I guess. So
Yeah, I think there is one from Lattafa Leen. I've forgotten the name. They are in the same, the same DNA, but there's something about that feels a little more well blended to my nose, But overall, this one I think is quite overhyped,
I get. So, do you think the yam pistachio DNA in itself is overhyped, or this particular one is overhyped? This rendition.
I think the yam pistachio itself is quite overhyped.
Okay, so we're together then.
And it has trickled down to the dupes.
Exactly.
It's like everybody seems to love like the dupes, And when it comes to Khair fragrances, I've realized that I like their oud fragrances much more than their girly feminine fragrances. I like
Oud Kazem.
the one that we have, the Victory, is it?
Yes,
Empire
Victor.
Victor, that is it's one of my current favorites, and it's reported to be a dupe for that. I have not smelled the original one, so I like the oudi Khair fragrances so much. Even the December vanilla, the December vanilla, I love that fragrance. But when it comes to the girly ones, I feel like there's something always slightly off, or it doesn't give me the punch in one way or the other. This one, even the fusion, I like fusion, but it's not like a love for me. It feels like a little too.
It's also maybe to do with the PR. I mean, the fact that Khair is very, they'll tease you and whatever, and then they'll build up this expectation, and then it comes and you're like, okay. So I kind of felt the same with this. The DNA in itself is not one that I'm crazy about. This one is almost finished. Well, this one is as good as finished. But I had two bottles that were sent at the same time, and I'll tell you, Maima finished this one and she's on the second bottle. Nothing to do with me. It's not a DNA that I'm crazy about. It's a DNA that is personally, my nose wonders why. What's up with that? But to an extent, people do love it. So it's one of those that's going to get the overhyped kind of spot with the quotation mark.
I respect that, if you love it,
I know, I don't. I personally,
for me,
Maima loves it, but I'm just saying I don't see the hype around the DNA to an extent that each and every fragrance house seems to be, cloning it and cloning it. It's not it's an okay DNA. I think it's overhyped. I'm going to go with overhyped.
Yes, I think it is. To me, I think it is. One fragrance that I personally also had this. I had this, when I got it, it was quite new, and I was quite new to that scent profile. I didn't have anything with creme brulee per se. It smelled delicious to me, but over time, I guess I'm sort of falling out of love with Anna and Glory. I'm falling out of love with this. I guess for like, I overhyped this. Personally, I'll take the blame for it, you know. I sort of overhyped this fragrance, but now I'll say I wouldn't necessarily say or recommend this. You know, if you ask me currently, it's okay. There is something about it which is a lot more spicy than I really wanted it to be. That turmeric is doing a little too much to me, to my nose after maceration, you know. So I think this one I'll put under the overhyped category.
And I'm going to flip it and say I underhyped this thing. Okay. I came and I said, I don't get the pineapple. I don't get the creme brulee. I don't know what the fuss is about, guys. This is just one of those fragrances that is not doing anything. And then I let it sit there and the magic started to happen. The only problem I have with this particular fragrance is if you have used it, Lattafa, I always get it twisted. Lattafa, the one in a tall bottle, Lattafa.
What color is it?
It's a fusion of this Shaheen Gold and that. Okay, I'm going to give her the name of the fragrance. So if you've used Shaheen Gold and you've used that other one, the tall one with the kind of like a gold plated thing, this is not going to wow you. So I'm going to say I underhyped it in the sense that to me it became an acquired kind of fragrance where one day, the very first time I sprayed it, I was like, oh my God, what is this? And then I tried, because I think I was trying so much to dig into this creme brulee and I was expecting a delicious fragrance and I was getting all these pages and there was no pineapple and whatever. But then with time, it became a fragrance that one day I just sprayed it in the air and I was like, oh, now I see what people get. So I'm flipping the coin here. I'm going to say personally, it's underhyped.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm going to say personally, it's an acquired type of fragrance. It's not for everybody, personally. Okay. And I can see how she doesn't like it because I was one of those people that was also wondering what the hype was about, but it spoke to me later.
Okay. So it's not like I don't like this fragrance. I do like it, but I think it's getting too intense.
Just too much.
Yes, and I like my spicy fragrances, but there is something about it which sort of, you know, puts me off currently. So to me, I think I'll put it under the overhyped category for now, you know. Okay, so
you see?
Okay.
Two noses, different noses.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, so the third one is going to be this, which I feel is so underhyped.
Pink to pink.
There is a lot of hate when it comes to pink to pink. A lot of people seem to get that gasoline smell, which I really don't. What I get is like if there is something like grilled guava, if you can grill guava, you know, like charred guava, that is the nuance I get in this one. I don't get that gasoline per se, you know. To me, it's one of the most realistic fruity scents when it comes to guava and lychee, and I like how it is done here. You know,
yes, and I like how it's maybe this one it takes this you know, the slag for the sister. You know, it's a predecessor to the
Ajwad.
The Ajwad, and Ajwad was one of those that I like, and you're like,
and I love that one too.
You know, it's one of those fragrances that has got a lot of twists and turns. So maybe when, you know, the name pink to pink and then getting that guava and is confusing a lot of people. But here I will agree, this is underhyped. Get your nose on this. If you haven't gotten your nose on this fragrance, get your nose on this. If you're not familiar with the smell of guava, it might be tricky, but I have a lot of guava trees and I think the interpretation here is bang on. You know, it's a fruity fragrance with a twist. It's a fruity fragrance that's rich and lush. It's, you know, it's got weight. It's not one of those basic summery fruity. It's a fruity type of wintry scent, if you will, you know, because it has that weight. Yeah. So it is definitely underhyped.
Yes, and I think it's also a perfect unisex scent. You know, it doesn't come across as ultra feminine because of that smoky nuance, you know, that I get in this, you know. So for me, this is underhyped. Yes. This is so underhyped.
So underhyped, guys. Yeah. Get your noses on that. If you can get a decant, do that.
Yes. Okay, so Leen by Lattafa, it's so underhyped to me. I recently got a bottle. This is not mine. This is for C. But this fragrance is so underhyped. It's beautiful, you know, creamy.
Mango.
Osmanthus mango. It feels a bit sparkling too. Yes, you know, like very ladylike to me.
Ladylike.
Very ladylike.
Womanly.
Wow, I like it's macerated. Mine is quite new, you know. This is so gorgeous. Beautiful. It's gorgeous. That's the word. Very gorgeous, you know. It doesn't come across as, you know, boss chick, you know.
It's just
pretty, feminine, gorgeous, elegant, you know.
I actually put this one in my top 10 at some point.
Oh,
I did put it in my top
yes,
10.
yes. I think you did a top 100.
Yes.
Yes.
And
a
this
top
one made
100
it to the
video.
top 10. I
Yes,
said, guys,
yes.
check this fragrance out. The reason why mine is still at that level is I have so many fragrances coming in, you know, and we're like in the blazing heat, and it's one of those fragrances that though it's a very nice smooth mango, it's there, it's very present. This is a very, very present type of fragrance, to an extent that if you wear it in the heat, you know, you might find yourself, you know, having done too much of a good thing. So I love it. I absolutely love it. It's a mango that can transition even to cooler weather as well. Very beautifully blended. I think the only problem with this one was the fact that Lattafa, you know, keeps on dropping fragrances, and some of their fragrances just get lost along the way.
And I think the price too.
Yes.
Even currently, after, I think it's been on the market for about 6-7 months at this point, but the price is still around the $49-50 price point. Probably that is why a lot of people are not picking it up, you know. But it's a very beautiful, underrated one. It also puts me in the same mind frame of Lattafa's Majazi. You know, that majazi, that elegance, you know, floral sort of.
I hadn't actually thought of it that way, but
yeah, it puts me in that. As soon as I smelt it, it reminded me of that, you know. So if you love majazi, I think you're going to love this one too. So this is so underhyped. Lattafa Leen, and well, so overhyped. Sondos, so overhyped to me. I don't know what you think. I know C loves this fragrance, but I mean, that's why we are discussing this,
exactly. You know? That's why we are having this. The same argument could be posed with this one. You know, the fact that a lot of people love this fragrance doesn't mean that, you know, if it brushes you the wrong way, you know, some people know. This fragrance, this Sondos, it's a DNA that's not going to surprise you, but it's a DNA that if at some point you love that Monsieur Cherie, it's going to just take you back in time to that, you know, type of vibe, but with a more sweet tone, you know, like a beastly version of that, and a fusion of a combo that you cannot say is just Mr. Cherie. Something in it has wafts of that La Vie Belle. So it's kind of a mix, and I can see why Ajwad would say this is overhyped, because it's a DNA that if you've got your nose on a lot of fragrances, it might come across as okay, you know, but I like it. Yeah. I would say it's underhyped. I personally would say it's underhyped because I don't see a lot of YouTubers talking about this fragrance.
When it first came out, I think you were the first person I saw talking about this. Then I saw some few others, you know, talking about this. Then I had to get my nose on it. I was intrigued by the bottle itself, you know, but I sprayed it and it was like, okay, I can do without this, you know. That was the impression I got from it, you know. It feels like a bit more generic to my nose, you know. Like I can get this from so many other fragrances.
Exactly.
You know?
Yeah. Fair enough.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
To me, I think Sondos is so overhyped. But I mean, I also respect that.
No, we're good.
Yeah. Okay. So this one is going to be from Maison Alhambra. Narcotic flower. This to me is so underhyped. You know, I think I've utilized a full bottle of this like a year ago. I just ran through this fragrance like within 3 months or so. It was already done. It's simple but very elegant.
I remember watching one of your videos where you actually did buy the real thing of somebody who had actually sold you something that was not the real thing. So I can see that this is coming from the heart. You actually love the DNA, because when you love the DNA, you actually want to even buy the real thing. You know, this is a very well made fragrance. Very well made.
So I actually got this one, and then someone sold a fake Flair Narcotic to me, you know. A friend, she told me she got it from a reliable source, only for me to realize it was a fake one. And that is how much I loved this fragrance, to get to the point of getting the real thing, you know, only for it to turn out to be a fake bottle. But this one is a very beautiful one, you know. That same Flair Narcotic powdery, floral.
Yes,
no,
subtle. Yeah. It's very nice fragrance that needs more attention. And yes, even when I did bring it to my channel, a lot of people said, you always talk about this fragrance. And I did get a couple of people to buy it because I feel it hasn't gotten enough limelight.
Yeah, and it's so affordable. It's one of those older fragrances, and I think you can get this one for around $15 at this point, because it's quite old on the market. So to me, I think you need to check this one out. It's so underhyped at this point, and
oh, did you say, have you smelled that one?
I've smelled this one. It's a nice one, but I think it also comes across as quite generic.
It is generic, but it gets better with time. The jasmine gets better. That champagne note gets better.
I'll give it to the champagne, for it being quite a unique touch to it. Yes, I'll give it to it.
It's a nice fragrance. This was one of those that spoke to me, even on the first spray. I liked it, and it also is one that has two facets to it. The fact that it starts off feeling as though it's something that could be juvenile, and then it turns into a little bit of a serious, mature fragrance. Not serious, but like grown, like something that has no age cap, if you will. So it's a fragrance that I love.
It's very likable. Very likable. But I guess for it's a little generic, to me, probably because I'm used to a lot of stronger, Middle Eastern fragrances. So some of these ones, although they can seem very likable, mass appealing, even
it's mainstream,
give you some compliments. It gives me that mainstream, vibes to the extent that I feel like I'm not going to get a lot of uses out of them, So to me, I think this one was always overhyped.
It's overhyped.
Yeah,
okay.
I think so.
Okay, I'll go with underhyped.
Okay.
I just think it was one of those that came in the Three Musketeers, and people didn't know which one to go for. I would say go for that one, as opposed to the Sakina. That's the higher, as opposed to the Sakina and the
higher. Is it
Iman, as opposed to the Iman in the, I would say, of the three, if you're conflicted, you're wondering which one to go for, I would say go for that one. Okay. I think it's a nice fragrance.
Yeah, it's beautiful. Honestly, it is. Okay, so
Ansaam Gold. The one that got away, the one you couldn't catch, the one that was always out of stock until people just gave up, and then it was everywhere, right? Ansaam Gold. I was on the hunt for this one. I was willing to pay anything for it because it was just one of those fragrances that you couldn't find. And then it turned up, and maybe I was expecting something very, very, very close to Love Don't Be Shy, and I get something that's quite subtle. And I get the fact that it's kind of like an Oriana, fusion, but it doesn't really quite hit it the way I wanted it to. But I wouldn't slag it. I'm just going to say no comment. Buy it at your own accord. I didn't say nothing, but it's a nice fragrance. No, I like it.
It is, it is, but there's something about it that is also quite not too mass appealing. That sort of smoky. There's a smoky nuance to it. That can throw you off. I know quite a number of people who don't like this fragrance. Quite a number of people. For me, my preference between this and Alhambra's Rina, my preference is Rina. I've always said that.
Wow.
That is what I always say. However,
what do you find that's different? I haven't.
Rina is like citric from the top. It has that citric.
So that's
nuance.
More like a 101 Oriana.
I've not tried Oriana. I've heard a lot about that. It smells like this, but I've never tried Oriana. But this one, I don't know exactly. People say it's a combination of Oriana and
it feels like Oriana and Love Don't Be Shy.
Yes, But for me, I prefer that, the Rina version. Although this one, I also I've finished my bottle. I had a full bottle that I finished, and I didn't run through it because I wanted to get rid of it,
But it's good that you recommend Rina, because Rina is actually more affordable than this one. Ansaam Gold, I think, is stuck to about maybe $40 or somewhere thereabout. You can maybe pick it up for 30, somewhere thereabout, but I got mine for about 40, I'd say under 50. So the fact that Rina is more affordable would be a better choice. I haven't personally put my nose on it, but I'm going to say, if you love that DNA and there's something else that is actually more affordable, go for that, because this It was more of like a marketing, not even a marketing strategy. It was just the mention of love, don't be shy. And having a company like Lattafa release something in the same vein, everybody wanted it, right? And there was this expectation, and there was this, we couldn't wait. And then you got it and you were like, oh, okay, So it's a nice fragrance, very nice fragrance, but I wouldn't say go out of pocket if you can help it, So yeah, definitely overhyped. To me,
I think it is not overhyped. If you love the Rena, but you want it much more stronger, let's say a nighttime version of Rena, that Rena feels more of a daytime scent to me,
because of the citrus.
Yes, and the marshmallow, creamy, fluffy, nuance. But this one has that intense, slightly incensey, slightly smoky nuance, which feels like a much more sexier version. It gives me that sexy sort of quality, whereas the Rena gives me like an everyday office, or even a day date, So Rena to me is like the day date version, while this one is like, that dinner sort of, cozy,
I get it.
So to me, I think this one
is worth the hype.
Yes, it's so much worth the hype, although my preference is going to be Rena, And the next one here, let's talk about this one.
Choco Musk by our Rehab. I love this fragrance. I think it's underhyped. I think a lot more people need to get their hands on it. I think the price is right. I think it's just beautiful. Yeah. It's a beautiful take on what is that one? You see, now I'm forgetting. It's a Sarah Cocoa Vanille. Yeah, it's a beautiful cheapie. I think the thing with this, if anybody looks at it with a side eye, is the bottle. But I think again, if they change the bottle, then the pocket, pays for it. So if you can look past the bottle, if you can look past the performance, considering that it's a cheapie, add this one to your collection. I like the fact that it layers with literally anything. If you have a problem with any fragrance in your collection, get yourself Choco Musk. I've said this a gazillion times. It will amp up whatever fragrance. If Choco Musk itself, the actual alcohol version of the fragrance, which is this bottle, doesn't work for you, get the oil. The oil is strong. The oil has the performance. This one might fizzle, but the oil has the performance. But for me, it's a definite with the hype type of situation. I think not a lot of people are talking much about that, and they should. People should, check this one out. I personally think it's a good fragrance.
It is a good fragrance for the price. I think even currently you can still get it for around $5 or $6, which to me is a great, value for money. But I think scent-wise, it is overhyped. Honestly, to me, there's something about it which feels slightly cheap too.
Okay.
There's a slight cheap feel to it, just because it's also cheap. There's a slight cheap sort of feel to it for me, If you are wearing this one on its own, I prefer, as you said, to layer it. It's beautiful when you layer it, but on its own, it feels like, those cocoa powder,
Oh yes, we grew up cocoa powder, using even the lotion, that has got that cocoa butter kind of.
And the one that we even ingest, that cocoa powder. There's the difference between the Milo or Milo and the cocoa powder. That powdery one feels. It tastes cheaper as compared to Milo. It gives me...
This is the person to listen to when it comes to this, because I read something about Ghana being... cocoa forward, that's one of your biggest exports or something.
Ghana and Ivory Coast.
So you know what you're doing. Which I smelled cocoa when I was in, but I see how you're distinguishing the differences in here. Oh, okay. Yes. I've never actually looked at it that way. The fact that this one smells like maybe it's because I haven't had the exposure to have different types of, cocoa powders or cocoa versions to my nose. So I just found it as an acceptable scent, and more so that I use it for layering than on its own.
Great for layering. Okay, so to me, this is slightly overhyped, but great value for money, And the next one we have here is going to be this one
from the same company.
From the same company.
French coffee. Okay, French coffee. I'm going to be honest with French coffee. Well, first of all, I don't know why they changed the bottle. Maybe the reason why we couldn't get it was because the bottle in itself costs more. I don't know. Because the original French coffee comes in that square bottle and the, you know, like the Amani Privé kind of thing. I don't like it. I'm going to be honest.
Really?
No, I don't. I don't. I find that it's coffee, and more coffee. And how much coffee can we get? I mean, I know the smell of coffee. I don't want to smell like I've been picking on coffee or roasting coffee beans or in a coffee factory. I feel... and it's not even our Rehab's fault. I think it was YouTube that took this and ran with it. I remember hunting it down until one day I just woke up and I saw a bottle and I was like, and up to now, people in South Africa cannot get this fragrance. They kept on saying, where do we get this fragrance? And just around the time I got my Eternal Coffee, and that's when I got that. And I found myself loving it. Yeah, I love Eternal Coffee.
You prefer that to this?
I prefer that to this, yeah. Okay. Eternal Coffee is more milky. It's
more floral.
More cappuccino-ish. It's more floral. Yeah. It's not like coffee beans in your face. This smells like, you know, when the attendant or the fragrance attendant says, you guys have been smelling a lot of fragrances. Do you want to clear your nose? I just cannot get past the fact that it smells just like how I smell coffee beans in a fragrance store to clear my nose. So... I'm anosmic to it. That's all I can say, because it's what you use to clear your nose. That's what I get. So I feel it's just coffee and more coffee and black coffee, thick coffee, you know, like the wake me up type of coffee, that sort of thing. You know, the pick me up. The first one it's okay. It's the coffee you don't want to drink at night because you won't sleep.
You won't sleep.
It's the strong coffee and it's... There.
Yes. Okay. So I understand that, but I'm surprised that you don't like this fragrance because I like it. It used to be a love for me, you know, but I still maintain that I like this fragrance. Although it can be a little annoying if you are wearing this the whole day, you know, if that you're not layering this with anything. For me, I think that is where it becomes quite annoying.
What do you layer it with? Because maybe
vanilla fragrance. I think I've had mixed bar bourbon vanilla.
Oh,
you know, that is a good, you know, combination to me.
Oh,
because it sort of tones down that intense coffee, you know. Anything vanilla is great with this one, you know.
Oh, right.
Anything vanilla
I've never actually tried it that. Maybe looking at it that way, but I think it was just dethroned by the fact that I got it round about the same time with that French coffee and not
prefer
French.
This to
Eternal Coffee, and Eternal Coffee is the coffee that will go away. You know, so it knows when to cut it out. This to me is in your face. I'm wearing coffee. It's either you like coffee or you don't. It chokes the wearer. That's what I get. Overhyped for me completely.
Well, for me, I don't think it's overhyped. I don't also think it's underhyped. I think it got the right traction it needed, you know, but I also don't like wearing this one on its own. It feels a bit too much, you know, gets a bit too much, you know, too realistic of a coffee scent to me. It's more beautiful when I layer it personally, you know.
I will try layering it.
Yeah.
Good idea.
Yeah. Okay.
Before I slag it off, I will definitely try layering it.
Okay. Okay, so this is going to be the last one. This I literally just smelled.
No, we still have Qawah.
Oh yeah, I think we have two more.
We have two more.
We have two more. Okay, so this I smelled today. It's part of the Pride collection, right?
No. This is just a regular one that they released.
Okay. So it's supposed to be a clone for
Serge Le Capital.
If this is how La Capital smells, then
thank you, Ajwad.
I don't like it.
I'm not crazy. Thank you.
I don't like it. You know, there's something about
there's somebody who wants this fragrance on my channel, and I would still try to see how I can get it to them because they did get. You know, it's still on my chopping list.
Yeah, I don't know, but. I don't
but
like
if you
this
like
one.
it, you like it. It's patchouli and
like fruit chili sort of vibes.
And the thing about it is when you buy it, you have this expectation to smell a strawberry or so. There's a fruit that they list there, so it's that fruit that they list there that you're expecting to smell, and there's
something about it that. I would not personally recommend this.
It's odd.
Yeah, it's sort of odd, to me. It's not unique, in any way. I think I tried the Starlight, Zezhov Starlight, which is like more of that Christmassy, spicy sort of, and I think I like that so much better than this one. This one, I don't think even if I had a bottle, I will ever utilize it, So it's overhyped in my opinion. It's overhyped.
What?
Kadhaf,
yeah.
By Lattafa. Okay, so let's move on to Mocha Wood by Fragrance World. And to me, this one is so underhyped. I don't see a lot of people talking about it. I think I've seen you and few others talking about it, And I've tried this like a number of times. The only reason why I don't want to pick this one up is I feel like I have similar fragrances. I might not, but I highly recommend this. I think it deserves some hype. For the prices too. I don't think it's been on the market for quite some time, so the prices for this has dropped. So Mocha Wood, I highly recommend. I think it's very, very underhyped.
Exactly.
So for Fragrance World,
100% thumbs up on that one.
Fragrance World, and I think the last one is going to be
Khamrah Qawah. This one, mine came with the lid doesn't shut.
Okay, so this I wouldn't say is underhyped. To me, I prefer this over the original Khamrah. There's something more sexy, much more sweeter, and also a
cardamom coffee thing without the coffee doing the most.
Not doing the most. Not doing the most. It feels much more smoother, much more sensual to me.
The cinnamon is not in your face. This one just feels like it's the edited version of Khamrah. Khamrah is nice. It's beastly loud. If you like loud, if you like I'm here, I'm now, I'm go the long, go walk the walk and talk the talk in terms of performance, Khamrah, the original. But Qawah, Qawah is just one of those that
I mean, people have said you don't need this if you need if you have the original Khamrah. I think I did a Life After Maceration series where I said the difference between Khamrah and the Qawah lies in the maceration. When you allow it to sit, this one becomes much more spicy.
The cap came like this. Somebody told me, it said, "Oh, pull this thing," and I did it. It just, it doesn't close.
Okay, mine does. I don't know why.
No, my original Khamrah actually closes nicely. This one just. It's a fault on the actual cap because even as if I switch and take the Khamrah one, this one is still
so on the cap itself over here.
There's something faulty about this one. I don't know what they did.
Okay. To me, I don't think it's redundant having this and the original Khamrah. I don't think it's that overhyped. To me, I don't think this one is overhyped at all. I think it's also got the right traction that it needed.
It deserves the limelight. They nailed this one.
Yes.
If you have a problem with Khamrah, try this one. If you have Khamrah, you think Khamrah is doing too much, try this one. If you don't have Khamrah at all, go in the shop, test the two. Chances are you fall for this one. Khamrah is in your face, Middle Eastern style, doing the most. And if you buy Khamrah hoping that it's going to be an angel share clone, it feels like there was some sort of 40% inspiration there, but it takes a different direction altogether. So I'm a Qawah. I'm a Qawah kind of girl. I definitely agree on this one.
I like both actually, but I would say this
if you had to finish, you'd repurchase that.
Yes. Okay, so I think that is going to be it for today. Yes. So I hope nobody is offended by this. It's just
these are personal opinions, guys. Don't take anything to heart. We are just expressing our views here based on the fact that we play around with fragrances a lot. And remember, nasal palettes are not the same. How you perceive scents and whatever, it's all to do with memory, age, climate, and all that. So what we say is not exactly 100% set in stone, but it will guide you. It will guide you. And these are our personal thoughts. So we should have actually said that as a disclaimer, but it is what it is.
Yeah. Okay, so that is going to be it for today, and we hope this video found you well. Please do not forget to give this video a thumbs up, and please do not forget to subscribe if you are not, to see Chronicles and then Ajwad Loves Fragrances. Thank you so much, and we hope to see you in our next one. Bye.
Bye for now.